BoA is one of the most respected names in K-pop today. For veteran K-popers, you know her as the queen of K-pop. For K-pop fans that are relatively new to the genre, you might have seen her in Produce 101 Season 2 as the host, and if you're brand new to the sorcery called K-pop, you might think that BoA is some sort of snake. Yes, I've actually had one person that thought that BoA was a snake. While BoA has been doing a lot of producing and hosting these days, her true legacy will always be known as a catchy singer and an awesome choreographer and dancer. Whether you've been around K-pop for a long time or a relative newcomer to the genre, you'll soon find out why BoA is so revered and respected by many today. So let's get into why BoA is so well respected today and known as the Queen of K-pop. To understand why BoA is so well revered today, we first have to understand her career and her early upbringing. I'll say that BoA had a large part in transforming modern K-pop from the 2000s to what it is today. Not to mention, she also bridged the gap between Korean music and Japanese music, as she spent much of her early childhood and her teenage years training in Japan. But wait, you might ask, BoA's Korean. Why did she train in Japan? That's a good question. When she was 11, her and her brother went to this talent search audition, and they actually picked BoA to be a singer. But not just any singer. They wanted her to become an international star, Korea's first international superstar. And while most of us, when we were 11, were playing with G.I. Joes, Transformers, video games, or watching Saturday morning cartoons, BoA had to quit school to become a full-time singer. Her childhood was pretty much training and then singing. When she first moved to Japan, she had a really hard time. It was a real struggle for her because, well, she didn't know Japanese. Communicating was so difficult. But eventually, she started to master Japanese and become more comfortable in Japan. As mentioned earlier, her label, SM Entertainment, wanted BoA to become this multi-talented international star. She would have to be able to sing, songwrite, and dance, the complete package for an entertainer. And she wouldn't just do this in Korean, but she'd also do this in Japanese, and later English, and a little bit of Mandarin. She was basically trained to be K-pop's version of a Navy SEAL, but instead of taking out targets, she would take on the Japanese Oricon and the Korean music charts. And looking back at her career now, she definitely didn't disappoint. When she debuted 2 years later in 2000, at the tender age of 13, she released an album called ID Peace B. And unlike a lot of idol groups today who experienced success with their debut song, BoA's first releases were moderately successful. She wasn't a superstar overnight. This continued when her next mini album, Don't Start Now, did so-so, pretty moderate. After that, in 2002, she would concentrate on the Japanese music market full-time. And she hit it big with her first Japanese album, Listen to My Heart, which sold over 1 million copies and became platinum certified by the RIJA, or the Recording Industry Association of Japan. She would soon follow this up with another Korean album, number 1, as well as a Japanese single, Valentini, which would peak at number 2 on the Oricon charts. And this is pretty amazing because up until recently, there was an embargo between Korea and Japan over a lot of electronics, entertainment, and pop culture. So for a Korean to rank number 2 on the Oricon charts and become popular with Japanese fans was almost unheard of back then. From there was no stopping BoA, as she was one of the newest sensations of both K-pop and J-pop. One of my favorite moments is when BoA teamed up with one of my favorite groups of all time, Japanese hip-hop duo m-Flo in 2004 for the song Love Bug. Now, if you guys don't know who m-Flo is, let me quickly break it down for you. There's two people. One is Taku Takahashi, who's the DJ, and the other is Verbal, who's a rapper, and also Korean Japanese. They both studied in the States for a bit, and when they came back to Japan, they formed m-Flo with their friend Lisa. But when Lisa left a couple years later, they were lacking their female vocalists, and the biggest strength of m-Flo is hip-hop mixed with pop. A thing that you'll see sometimes in both K-pop and K-hip-hop. Well, enter BoA. BoA's a really good female vocalist, she's an up-and-comer, and now that she's a more mature singer, as she's now 18, BoA is ready to take on a collaboration the size of m-Flo. I'm gonna show you a little bit of Love Bug. Here it goes.
That's the way it's gotta be.
Oh, she got la bug. So what you saying, love?
Matter how things may be.
Yeah.
Got 'em on my phone.
Okay, what can I say?
Did you guys just see that? 사랑해? Oh my gosh, I love that line by Verbal. Oh, 사랑해. Oh, I karaoke 노래방 that song so many times. Oof. Now moving on from m-Flo and nostalgia, if you're keeping track when BoA debuted in 2000 and today in 2018, you notice that her career is 18 years and going strong. And if you're in the industry for 18 years, you might think, oh, they're probably in their 40s now, but she's only 31. In 2018, it will be her 18th year in being in the entertainment industry. And if you take a look from this perspective, how many groups from 2000 to 2018 were formed and then broke up? It's so many groups between the second generation from 2000 to 2009 and the third generation that we're on from 2010 to now 2018. So her career spanned 2 generations so far. And if she continues into the 2020s, it'll be 3 generations. Not many singers can say that today. She had a very short stint covering Mandarin songs. And if you were a K-pop fan in the late 2000s, you might have noticed her US crossover in 2008 with the song Eat You Up. However, like nearly all K-pop stars, she was barely able to make a dent in the US market. That's just how tough breaking into America is. And by 2009, she already returned back to the Japanese market, where she knew she already had her fan base and she was more comfortable working at. During the Hallyu Wave explosion that started in 2009, BoA was also active in Korea. In 2012, she released a song called Only One, which had some awesome vocals and mind-blowing choreography that was dreamt up by the Nappy Tabs. And the Nappy Tabs are an Emmy Award-winning American choreography duo who's also married, and you guys might know them from the TV shows America's Best Dance Crew or So You Think You Can Dance. Just to have their dance choreography is just amazing. You guys should definitely check out the video. It's probably my favorite BoA song. The song when it came out had a lot of all kills, and it shows that BoA still has it in 2012 after 12 years in the industry. But despite the song getting a lot of all kills and some popularity, it was actually overshadowed. Heck, every song in 2012 was overshadowed because of this song you might have heard of called Gangnam Style by Psy. And I love Psy, but I just wish Only One got more love. That's how awesome of a music video and the choreography is. And as a person that does dance myself, I really just appreciated the choreography in this video. In addition to working with Japanese hip-hop duo m-Flo, she's also had other collaborations, such as with Chinese Taemin in the song Disturbance, and rapper Gecko, and a special appearance by EXO Sehun in the 2005 video Who Are You, and a slew of other artists. But despite her being around in K-pop for nearly 2 decades, her first Korean solo concert actually happened in 2013. 13 years after she debuted. Most groups actually get their first solo tour after like maybe a year and a half or 2. BoA waited so long for her first solo tour. And like a lot of BoA fans and myself, we were definitely waiting for this concert. And as you guys can imagine, tickets sold out within, I don't know, like 5 or 10 minutes. It was really fast. And her performance was amazing. And now we're here onto the present, where she works as both a host and producer in Produce 101 Season 2, as well as gearing up for her Japanese album releases in 2018. Yeah, she still works in Japan. When BoA is not lining up the dance floor with her awesome choreography or singing catchy songs in the mic, she was doing some acting on the side. And one of the features that I saw her in was in the US movie Make Your Move. And when I made my move to see that movie, whew, it was bad. It was pretty terrible. Sorry, BoA. You know I love BoA and I have so much respect for her, but I don't know what happened with that movie. But luckily, like a step-up movie, you don't watch Make Your Move for the story or plot. You watch it for the awesome choreography, and BoA definitely brought it. Well, BoA can't win them all. Fortunately, her Korean drama acting wasn't as bad as Make Your Move, as she acted in the drama Expect to Date, and I pleasantly enjoyed seeing BoA on the drama screen. Now, let's talk about her musical influence. And if you guys watched enough BoA music videos or heard her sound or heard her talk about her favorite musical influences, it has to be one person, and that is Michael Jackson. And that's an awesome person to aspire to be. And you can see the definite parallel because Michael Jackson was also known as a once-in-a-lifetime performer, a generational talent. He was awesome at singing, songwriting, and dancing. Like, he was the ultimate performer. And you can see a lot of similar traits with BoA. And if you don't believe me, watch her 2007 Japanese music video, Sweet Impact.
What you feel, what you see,
It really has this tribute towards Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal. Other influences that she's mentioned or had similarities to include Justin Timberlake, another one of my favorites, Neo, as well as Japanese singers Utada Hikaru and Hamasaki Ayumi. As for her main styles of music that she sung over her 18-year career, it's pretty much dance pop and ballads. Now, despite everything I said about BoA and how illustrious her career is, I feel she's sometimes under the radar and underrated, especially to the new generation of K-pop fans. The fact that she's not really considered like an idol or part of an idol group also means that she doesn't have the crazed, rabid fans that back up a said idol group. So she doesn't really have this dedicated, crazed fan group. She also still frequently travels between Korea and Japan to do music in both industries. So I think a lot of the newer generation of fans don't really get to see her too much because she might be in Japan when all the hot music releases are coming out in Korea and vice versa. Also, when BoA collaborates with a K-pop idol, I feel a lot of the newer generation fans just flock to the music video not to see BoA, but the featured K-pop bias instead. And I feel a lot of fans should go to see both because they're really missing out on BoA. I feel that a lot of these newer fans don't know just how much of an impact BoA has had on the K-pop industry or how much she's moved it. And I know some people might say, oh, BoA's prime was in her, like mid 2000s, which I think is totally false. If you're actually gonna even say what's her peak, I would say her peak is 2011, 2012, Only You. You can still argue that she's still really relevant because she was on Produce 101 Season 2, and she was at the 2017 Mamas performing Only One. But despite a lot of the newer generation not really appreciating BoA as much, I feel that a lot of K-pop fans, especially from the 2000s, Japanese fans, younger K-pop groups and their managers, as well as within the K-pop industry, very much respect her and revere her. To these people, BoA represented a confident, mature woman that paved the way for K-pop as well as J-pop in the 2000s and later with the Hallyu Wave from 2009 on. She bridged the gap between the 2000s generation and the 2010s generation. In addition, Japanese fans love her. You'll find a lot of fans that still respect BoA to this day in Japan. Two things I love about Japanese fans: they're incredibly loyal and they never forget. And if that's not enough respect that BoA holds within the K-pop industry, she's also an SM shareholder. And in K-pop, unless you're like a once-in-a-lifetime generational talent, or unless you're a singer or group that's pretty much pushed a company to new heights, it's really, really rare that you'll even get that power in a company, let alone a mega conglomerate such as SM Entertainment. But BoA is one of the few that's calling her own shots, and that's saying a lot in the K-pop industry. So now it's over to you guys. What do you guys think about this video? And what do you guys think about BoA? Are you guys fans of BoA? What's your favorite song of BoA? I'd love to hear your comments in the comments below. And if you guys want my ebook on K-pop journalism and hearing my crazy, wacky adventures on what was it like being a foreign journalist covering K-pop in Seoul, please sign up for my free email list and get that ebook below. And with that being said, I'm off to listen to some more K-pop, but I'll be back soon. So I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy, guys.